Hello, I'm going to continue this story because there are some quite funny bits in this, apart from the fact that, but before I do that, I'm going to tell you because a lot of you won't understand what life was like in the old Iron Curtain when most of Europe was under the control of the Soviet Union before it fell apart and it became Russia. A communist empire collapsed, as it were. But at that time, just after the war, and it was 1968 we went there now that I know the year, it was 2 years after they crushed the demands for by the people of Czechoslovakia for more freedoms and less harsh, regime, because the actual way that the country was run was a totalitarian, hard line, almost a dictatorship, a one-party system where everybody had to vote, but there was only the Communist Party to vote for. Alexander Dubček was the leader. He decided to give in to the demands of the people a bit and soften the hardline facets of the policy that they were introducing, trying to appease the people. But this wasn't acceptable to the Soviet Union, so he was called into Moscow. He was taken off to Moscow, and he was probably expecting to have a show trial and be sent off to Siberia or something like that, which I used to do in those days. But he managed to escape a show trial, but he was told in no uncertain terms that he was to put things back the way they were and run the country the way that they wanted it run, which is to remove all the softening of the hardline policies and go back to how it was before. And so he was allowed back into Prague, but they had the state police and everybody was spying on everybody else, and nobody dared to speak out of turn in case the front door was broken down about 5:30, 6 in the morning, and these stormtroopers came in and dragged you off and questioning, and probably gave you a good hiding as well. And the dissent wasn't allowed. It just wasn't. People maybe were talking whispers inside their own house where they were safe, but on the streets nobody would dare to raise any objections to what was going on in public, because it was a highly risky thing to do. So that was the situation. That's how it was when we were there, because it was after the Russians cracked down and things had restored to how they were before. So it wasn't a very happy place for the people who were living there. And so I can understand our 15-year-old friend's rebellious nature, because he told us he hates the Russians and he hates the government and he hates the system. But of course, as I said before in the previous video, people were being offered double exchange rate to go there on holiday, but we knew that once you got to Prague, there were people offering you double exchange rate, in other words 4 times the exchange rate. So we went down Manchester Square on the first opportunity we got, which I think might be the same day or the very next day. And we were walking along, somebody in the shop doorway, hey, psst, hey, come here, do you want to change money, So, of course, that's what we wanted to do. So we knew that was somebody would approach us and we made sure it wasn't a scam, there weren't government officials trying to trick us. But we thought, he looks genuine. So we went over, and sure enough he was. So we all changed money. We changed about £200 or £300 each. So we had plenty of Czech money. And every time we needed a bit more, we went down Winchester Square, and somebody, not necessarily the same person, but there were, about 3 or 4 people at least who would be standing around and, hey, do you want to change money? So that's how we were living like kings. Now the outcome of this was that the day before we were due to leave, we had so much money, which you couldn't take it outside the country and exchange it back into pounds, because it was worthless. It was just pieces of paper in the West. You might as well set fire to it and burnt it. Of course, so what we did was that we had to spend this money. So we got a taxi, because we decided on the last day before we go and leave the next day, we can all have a drink, and have a good time. And also we can have a meal. So we got a taxi and we said to the driver, take us to the most expensive nightclub in Prague. So he said, okay. So we got in and off we went. And he took us to this nightclub. And we went inside. And the bar was upstairs, so we went upstairs. And we ordered drinks. So we all got our drinks as usual. Well, no, we still got too much money. So we asked them about food, and so, yeah, there was, I think, snacks, not really like proper meals, but there was snacks. And so we ordered that as well. And still we had too much money. And we noticed there was about 5 or 6 other tables up there. So we said to them, you know, what all those people up there want to drink, we're buying them all drinks. So we bought drinks to all these people and all the other tables up there as well. People were sitting. So somebody went up and took their orders, and then we paid for it all. So we sat down, and there we are having our drinks and eating our snacks. And these 4 guys in suits come over. And I thought, well, you know, they were very smartly dressed and they spoke perfect English. So, and they said, hello, good evening, or good afternoon, I can't remember, whatever it was. How are you? And so, well, fine, you know, we're talking. And I said, so, thank you for the drinks. And I said, that's no problem. I said, and what do you people do? So we said, we're businessmen. We're here in Prague looking to expand our business into Czechoslovakia. And that's good. Well, thank you for the drinks, and off they went. And then as they went away, our Czech friends said that they were like the Czech equivalent of the KGB, the secret police. Well, we managed to fool them as well, because it was illegal to change money on the black market, but they never questioned us. They just thought we were very rich people from the West, and that we're going to invest in their country. So that's good, good news to them. So we managed to fool them. So that was another funny episode. And of course, there were many others. I can't remember them all now because it's so long ago. But like I say, that person who followed us around, we took him with us. We managed to catch him, and well, we got him drunk basically. Then he confessed to us that he was following us. So yes, we said, well, if you want to see what we're doing, just come round with us. They don't have to follow us from a distance because we've got nothing to hide. So he came round with us, and then eventually, next day, well, he wasn't around, but of course by then somebody else was following us. Well, we just thought I'd let them follow us because we got nothing to hide. So we just put up with it. And apparently our friend told us that this is normal, that everybody follows somebody, and the person who's following is also being followed by someone else and so on. Because that's how paranoid the government was, and the people in charge. They had to keep an eye on everybody because probably because of what happened in Hungary, the uprising, where they all actually defeated the ruling government and the Russians and drove them out. They had 3 days of freedom before they came back with reinforcements and crushed the revolution, as it were. So they didn't want to go through that again. So that's why they sent the tanks in early before it became an uprising and put an end to it. So that was 2 years before we went there. So because one of the things we did actually was with the family, him and his family, they had a little holiday home out in the country outside of Prague. And they asked us one day, would you like to come up there with us? And we said, oh yeah, it'd be nice. So we went up there. We spent a day there and spent the night there. And the next day we went back to Prague. And it was beautiful there. It was out near some woods out in the countryside. Anyway, during the day, our Czech friend took us out there and said, I'll show you where they used to hide the tanks. The Russian tanks were hiding. And sure enough, we showed us the tank tracks. Of course, the tanks weren't there anymore, but we could see the tracks were clearly made by tanks. So that's where the tanks would, go into Prague, where they were hidden in the forest. And that's when they rolled into Prague to put down any possibility of another uprising. So it was quite, a strange place to be because it was so different to the West. Because as I said, in the West in those days, we had free press, free TV, free radio, and the BBC actually broadcasting news instead of, like they do nowadays, propaganda, and like the newspapers now, just totally, owned by the government or the establishment. They only tell you what they want you to know, and most of it is a pack of lies. So that's how it is in this country now. So we've gone from being the free West to being almost like the Soviet Union owned countries were back in the day. So that's how it was. So with that in mind, that's the end of the story. I might give another story tomorrow about when we went to Malta, because Malta wasn't a communist country, but it's even more hilarious adventures there. That was really funny as well. And that I went with two other lads, not the same people, who were friends of mine, because they went to Malta a year before and they asked me if I wanted to go with them this time. And I said, yeah, I'd love to go to Malta. So I joined them. In 1969, we went to Malta. So I'll be telling you about that in the next video. So thank you for watching this. I hope I didn't bore you too much, but Malta's even funnier. So look forward to the next video, please. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.